Hello everyone, today I will recap a movie that is a thriller mystery, drama, and a crime film. The title of the movie will pop out while you keep watching the video. On Simeon Church Hospitalier, Florence Weber is recording about a case from 1993 discussing the patient Gabriel's increasing strength and dexterity, which is becoming more malicious with time. A nurse reports that he has escaped yet again, presumably by absorbing the electroshock that was used to subdue him. They came across him while going through GH's file. Everyone is trying to restrain him, but he continues to attack and injure nurses and doctors. Dr. Florence is able to successfully shoot him. They shackle him and bind his hands and feet with straps. While imprisoned, he appears to have special abilities, such as controlling electricity and broadcasting his thoughts through speakers, and tells them on the radio that he intends to kill them all. In another room, Dr. Florence observes him and confirms that they cannot help him, and that they must cut out the cancer. Madison Lake, a pregnant woman, is living in the present. She has an argument with her husband, Derek, who claims to have been pregnant several times, but that each one died inside her. All she wants to do is sleep, she tells him. The man throws the woman against the wall, injuring her head. Derek apologizes to her, telling her that it was an accident and that it would never happen again, while emphasizing that it was a case of domestic violence. At night, there is a lot of noise in the house. The man nods off on the sofa. When he walks into the kitchen, the refrigerator unexpectedly opens. When he returns to the living room, the television is turned on and the lights alternately turn on and off. Madison falls asleep in the room and wakes up with her head bleeding from the blow she received. Derek is sleeping in the living room when he is visited by a ghost who smashes his head against the wall, killing him. Madison awakens from a nightmare and discovers Derek's body with his head turned backwards. Madison is knocked out by the ghost, who is still present in the house. Madison, at the hospital, learns from her sister Sydney that she has lost the baby she was expecting when Kikoa and his partner, Regina Moss, arrive at her house, arguing that what happened is unusual. When Detective Kikoa arrives at the hospital to question Madison, Sydney informs him that she hasn't eaten in 2 days and is staring into space, and that she has had 3 miscarriages that she was unaware of. According to the police, there are no fingerprints in the morgue and all of the hand patterns are reversed. They begin to suspect Madison as a result of the domestic abuse she endured with Derek. Sydney takes Madison home and locks all of the house doors. Madison then tells her sister that she wanted to have a baby so she could have a biological connection with someone, revealing that she was adopted by their parents when she was 8 years old and has no recollection of her life before that. Derek's assassin kidnaps and transports a woman working on a Seattle underground tour to an unknown location. Gabriel, the entity, is then revealed to be speaking to the woman through an old radio. Gabriel then calls Dr. Florence and reiterates what she said about cutting out the cancer. Madison is doing laundry one night at home when she notices a shadow pass by. The lights start to flicker and blood appears to be oozing from the back of her head, most likely from her previous wound. She noticed Dr. Florence's reflection in the washing machine as she was loading the clothes into it. Dr. Florence orders Madison to leave her house, to which Madison replies, "It's her house." Gabriel yanks the doctor from the washing machine and starts punching and slapping her. Madison's surroundings then shift from her home to Dr. Florence's home, as she appears to be in shock about what is happening. The doctor then inquiries about Gabriel as to what he expects from her. Gabriel then kills her with one of her own surgical trophies in retaliation. Madison then awakens screaming, her head injury still bleeding, and everything appears to be a dream. Kikoa and Moss discover a photo of Madison as a child in Weaver's house during their investigation, and learn that Weaver specialized in child reconstructive surgery. Madison then witnesses the brutal murder of Dr. Victor Fields, Dr. Weaver's hospital co-worker, while he is sleeping. Madison gets a close-up view of Gabriel, who has a hideous and deformed face. She informs the detectives that she witnessed Dr. Fields' murder in real time and leads them to his body. Madison then receives a call from Gabriel, who addresses her as Emily and tells her that she allowed them to tell her that he was just a figment of her imagination and that he is going to make them pay one by one as soon as they leave the station. Madison, the young girl in the photo, was a patient of Dr. Weaver, and her real name is Emily May, according to Detective Kikoa. Madison and Sydney pay a visit to their mother and inquire about Gabriel. We then see a series of home videos of Madison as a child conversing with her imaginary friend Gabriel. She is seen on a toy phone talking to Gabriel and saying that she will not harm the baby, referring to Sydney, who is still unborn. Detective Kikoa makes the connection that all of Gabriel's targets were doctors at the Simeon Hospital working on Madison's case. He looks up the address of the last victim, Dr. John Gregory, in the hopes of preventing his murder. Madison witnesses Dr. Gregory's murder, which Detective Kikoa is unable to stop in time. She tries to warn Kikoa that Gabriel is still present in the room, but she is invisible to him. Detective Kikoa and Gabriel have a physical altercation. Kikoa pursues Gabriel through the Seattle Underground tour, but eventually loses sight of him. They visit a hypnotist to see if they can gain access to Madison's repressed childhood memories in order to learn more about Gabriel. In a flashback, young Madison receives a phone call from Gabriel on her toy phone. Madison takes a knife from her kitchen drawer. The kitchen then transforms into Madison's parents' bedroom, and she finds herself holding a knife over her mother's pregnant belly, demonstrating that Gabriel was determined to get rid of Sydney. Madison begins screaming uncontrollably during the session and is brought back to reality by the hypnotist. Back in Gabriel's lair, the previously kidnapped woman manages to free herself from her shackles. She tries to walk away and falls through the floor into Madison's living room, revealing that the woman had been trapped in Madison's attic the entire time. When they search Madison's attic, they discover the murder weapon as well as all of Gabriel's belongings. Madison is once again the prime suspect. They bring her in for questioning, and the detective shop immediately starts antagonizing Madison, resulting in Madison becoming agitated and breaking the lights in the room. Kikoa receives a phone call from Gabriel, in which he reveals that he is the one who is to blame for everything that has happened. Sydney decides to conduct her own investigation and travels out to the now defunct Simeon Research Hospital in order to gather information. She goes to the basement and discovers Madison's files in the records division, which she promptly destroys. Madison's birth mother, Serenamy, was the inspiration for Gabriel's name, and the detective discovers this while investigating another scene. Her pregnancy with Madison was caused by rape, and she gave her child up to the Simeon Research Hospital to be cared for. We discovered that Gabriel is Madison's underdeveloped twin who has been stuck to the back of her body since birth. Gabriel has been living as a parasite on Madison's body and relies on Madison's resources to survive. It is explained in some videos by Dr. Florence, who explains that Gabriel gained access to a part of Mary's brain that allowed him to force her to see what he wanted her to see, and as a result, Gabriel turned evil or malignant. Afterwards, he began instructing Maddie to commit a variety of criminal acts on his behalf. The doctors then decided that the only way to save Madison's life was to surgically remove Gabriel from her body. However, because the twins were conjoined at the brain and complete removal of Gabriel could have killed or severely damaged Madison, they removed what they could and suppressed the rest of Gabriel into the back of Madison's skull. As a result, Madison died or suffered severe brain damage. Since he was the one who told Maddie to kill baby Sydney because he feared he would be replaced and forgotten once Sydney was born, Gabriel has been residing in her mind as a ghost. Madison suppressed and eventually forgot all about Gabriel after Sydney was born. As a result of Derek slamming Madison's head into the wall, Gabriel was able to take control of Madison's body and proceeded to kill every doctor who had attempted to remove him from the world. The murders were visible to Madison because of her subconscious, but she was completely unaware of what was really going on. Because she did not have complete control over her mind or body, she was in danger. Gabriel possesses superhuman strength and is able to manipulate electronic devices in some way. Then it is revealed that Madison's head was always bleeding after waking up from her visions, and that the blood was caused by Gabriel opening and closing his eyes repeatedly during her visions. Madison is taken back to the police station and placed in a jail cell. The women who have gathered there then become extremely violent and begin beating on her as a result. Gabriel is freed as a result, and he brutally murders every single woman who happens to be in that cell. One of the officers attempts to stop Gabriel by shooting at him multiple times, but he ends up sticking his entire arm inside the cell, which allows Gabriel to escape. Sydney attempts to contact Detective Kakoa in order to inform him of the truth about Gabriel, but is prevented from doing so by the events taking place inside the police station. Gabriel takes possession of his assassin's dagger from the evidence room and proceeds to murder all of the officers in the station. Madison, who appears to be completely unaware of what is going on, hears Kakoa call out to her. Sydney goes to the hospital in order to speak with Madison's birth mother, but Gabriel has already arrived at the hospital. He tells Sydney that he had been saving her for the very end. He clearly despises Sydney because she was chosen by Madison over him. Madison is now witnessing the events as they unfold in real time, but she is unable to regain control of her thoughts or body. When Sydney finally manages to get through to Madison, she informs her that Gabriel is the source of her new miscarriages, explaining that he was feeding off of her fetuses in order to rebuild his own body. As a result of hearing this, it appears as though Madison is regaining control of her body. However, Gabriel, who is now inhabiting Madison's body, shoots Sydney in the head, killing her and his mother. Madison then regains complete control, and it is revealed that she deceived Gabriel into believing that he had killed Sydney and his mother when, in fact, they were still alive. Madison then informs Gabriel that he no longer has control over her body and that he will now be living in a world that she has created for himself. Gabriel explains that she can't keep him imprisoned indefinitely and that he will eventually return. She responds that she is aware of the situation, but that she will be better prepared next time. Madison now possesses the same superhuman strength as Gabriel, and she is able to lift the hospital bed off Sydney with ease. Sydney is embraced by Madison in the final scene of the film, and Madison tells her that she will always be her real sister. We see the shot of a light bulb making a static noise, hinting that Gabriel is still present as the movie ends. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy our video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.